We're in conversation today with Mr. Ravindra Patki, who is the lead automotive at Vector Consulting. Mr. Patki, thank you very much for taking your time and talking to Autocar Professional.
Thank you, Mayank.
If you could begin, at looking at the digital interventions in supply chain, that is the area that you really excel in. So if you could give me a broad overview about, how digitization, how AI, maybe, even blockchain coming in, how that is really helping companies overall make the supply chain more efficient in the automotive industry.
Okay, well, Mayank, if we look at from the digitization perspective, automotives have changed a lot. Okay, and every 3-4 years there is a new buzzword that comes in. Yeah. So sometime back there was industry 4.0. Before that there was everything related to it. Came from tracking of GSIM and all that. Yeah. So and now they are talking about AI, machine learning, and they are talking about blockchain. If you look at the core, why people are obsessed with the digitization is because the belief is that if I gather data, I can use that data for my advantage. Unfortunately, if you see in most of the supply chains, a lot of data is gathered. In Industry 4.0 or IoT, yeah. They started gathering data about what is happening in the manufacturing, each stage and all. And still we find that the systems are inefficient. We still find that a plant which is running on, which is called smart factory nowadays, a smart factory running on all IoT and things, it still does not have the material available to assemble the right vehicle, or it still does not have the efficiencies that the organization was looking forward for. So if you look at all these automations and data gathering, it helps you in getting data, but converting that into an information and using that information for decision making is altogether different.
Right.
So while we have huge data points on AI, machine learning, how to use that data is an elusive thing for the organization as of now. So when we look at these things, the way we observe these and the way we react to them is everything that I'm gathering, I should be able to convert and react to it. If I'm not able to react to it, then gathering that data becomes useless over the period of time. So when we look at the supply chains, the data that we gather and the data that we react to is converted on daily decision making processes. So for example, what to produce today? If I have to produce something today, how will I ensure that all the components required for that production are available with me on that day? For that, what am I supposed to do with the suppliers to bring those components? Once I produce that, where this material should move, which dealer, which location, which color variant. Now this is decision making based on data, right? So all the data that I gather should give me a direction in which I have to move my goods. And then that becomes information, then that becomes knowledge or something that I can use for. And that's our viewpoint on how to use that data. So if you ask me, the new trends that are coming in, they will be helpful only and only if people know how to convert them into useful information. So one of the systems that we have developed and deploying at various of our clients that uses this learning of looking at past data and fast reacting to the changes in demand, fast reaction to the changes in supply lead times in such a way that you can still ensure efficiency and effectiveness of your supply chain on ground. And we have been practicing this for almost 19 years now. So a lot before AI became a buzzword, there was something that was getting learned through the data that was available in the system. So that's our approach.
And now in this uncertain times that we live in, with all the challenges, and I want you to reflect on the challenges as well. Do you think now is the time when it is very much critical for companies to look at these interventions?
Absolutely. So if you see, the world has become more agile. In the sense that the life cycle of products have been going down. The life cycle of the industry itself has been changing drastically. We had combustible automobiles ruling for almost 100 years, and now we have electric vehicles, and maybe we will have hydrogen vehicles, and maybe some new technology will come up and disrupt that as well. So the life of industry itself is shrinking. So when such fast-paced changes are happening, it is important to make yourself agile. So how do you make yourself agile? Is by preparing your own supply chains, your own manufacturing, your own new product development in such a way that if there is a changing trend, you are able to adapt faster, make your own organization changes in short lead time, and convert that into an opportunity for yourself. If you look at current China's situation, before 2020, nobody would knew that China would be growing so much in passenger vehicles. Yet we are here with more than 6 million vehicles getting exported from their side, who were nowhere. Right, and people think that it is because of the EV, and they had lithium, and they have all control on the batteries, but that's not completely true. Almost 2/3 of their exports are still the combustible vehicles. So it's not EV altogether. So what they have done in this period is, of course, with government intervention, but they have made themselves agile in terms of developing good quality products which can be sold at much lesser prices in the markets. Today, if we see, most of the exports from China to the LATAM and Russia and all those developing countries are buying from them, which was earlier dominated by the America and Europe and European countries. Yes, so there is a huge change happening there. Okay, and the quality is not bad. It's a good quality vehicle. So this change, which they looked as an opportunity and converted, this is what the companies have to do. So if we say that currently they are leading on EV space, maybe we have to look forward for how we adapt faster, bring our vehicles faster, and convert them into this opportunity. Otherwise, we are far behind from them.
And one more change which we are seeing in this industry is, a direct to retail model, wherein companies, OEMs are directly, trying to reach out to the end customer. So, given that scenario, how do you think your solutions can really help OEMs in making that thing getting enabled?
So, the solution that we deploy is basically how to improve supply chain reactivity or reaction to be very, very fast. Now, once you are able to make your own supply chain agile or very fast to react to any consumer demand, you can build such a solution. Now, most of the OEMs in the past are of the opinion that if I have to give any vehicle or any vehicle of choice to the customer, the inventory should be held by the dealers. And in that case, if you go to dealerships, in particularly auto four-wheelers, you will find that up to 60 days of inventory is lying with them. But given a chance that if you want to buy a vehicle and you want to buy anything other than a popular color or a popular variant, you won't find it there with 60 days of inventory. Now, if such an OEM wants to deliver direct to customer, they have to build their supply chain in such a way that any vehicle of any maybe variant or color should be available with them in the acceptable time to the customer. If you are saying that, okay, I'll give you your vehicle after 11 or 12 months, I don't think the customer will be willing to wait. So the change that will be required even for those OEMs, like Ola tried to do that in two-wheeler space. It started earlier on that, but they never got into that. Now they have the dealership model and all. So when you try to do that, you need that agility. You need that understanding of what customer is demanding and making that available in the lead time of the customer. Otherwise, in certain time, you are bound to fail. It's a ticking bomb. You know, it will blow off, but when you don't know. So do you think that there are still challenges in doing this business model, and is it relevant for a market like India, which is a very diverse and a very mass market? Actually, with the advent of EV, it is quite possible. See, why a dealership model was required earlier? Because every 3 months your vehicle was supposed to get serviced,
Right.
and there were a lot many parts which had wear and tear.
Okay.
With electric vehicle, those parts are reducing. The
Right.
engine is not there.
Right.
It is mostly the battery and the drive, right? That particular space which requires significant service is not required in case of EV to that extent.
Right.
Obviously something is required,
Yeah.
but that gives an advantage. That's why we see so many smaller players which were never heard of
Right.
are entering into the EV space,
Right.
because you don't have to give that much level of service,
Right.
which was earlier necessary evil. So every auto manufacturer had to have that dealer network for
Right.
servicing.
Right.
So it is very well viable, possible. Only thing that what they have to do is to make their supply chain in such a way that they can deliver what customer wants, and obviously in the price and quality which the customer wants.
So volumes notwithstanding, if the supply chain is robust enough, it is
Yes.
possible to
Obviously.
deploy this model
Yes.
and function on it in a country like
Yes.
India as well.
Yes.
Right.
That's quite possible. And see, these companies have started new, right? When Ola started offering, they started with smaller numbers.
Correct.
So it is possible. And for the bigger companies, it is easier because they have the volume games for the other businesses,
Correct.
which are via dealers.
Right.
So they can always offer these things. But then they will have to manage these two competing channels.
Right.
One is direct to customer, one is dealership based.
Right.
Pricing policies, the service policies, they will have to manage these things together. Delivery is not a problem.
Right.
With a lot of infrastructure getting built, delivery should not be a problem.
Right. And if we see at this whole space holistically, if there is this drive to sort of revamp the entire supply chain at the OEM, at the supplier, even at the dealer side, where do you think are the key challenges? Is it the tier 2, the tier 3, wherein the challenge actually lies? You have to really handhold them. And what sort of investments in terms of financials as well as skilling is the industry looking at if they're looking at such a turnaround in efficiencies?
So if you ask me, the work that we have done with the commercial vehicle, the two-wheeler, the four-wheeler category, the farm equipment category, what we find is that the existing supply chain, the suppliers are quite capable.
Okay.
Obviously, there are technical challenges. The company has know-how of solving those technical challenges.
Right.
The problem is they don't have time.
Right.
Why they don't have time? Because the procurement, the sourcing team is running helter-skelter in aligning the components required for today's manufacturing,
Right.
today's assembly. So the intervention that is required is such a way that you don't have to bother about today's assembly. You don't have to bother about today's plan.
Right.
It is on auto mode. When I say on auto mode, which means there is no firefighting inside the system.
Correct.
If the firefighting is eliminated, nearly 80-90%, if we are able to reduce it, that time is available for the procurement person who is technically sound person to go to the supplier, help them in improving their supply chain, help them in probably improving the tier 2 supplier supply chain.
Right.
But that time is not available today because we are running behind. Basically, we are running on a treading mill.
Yeah.
We are not reaching anywhere, but we are sweating ourselves out.
Right.
So that is where we are. So I don't think a huge intervention from government or anybody else is required. Simply ensure that you manage your supply chain effectively in such a way that your team's time is freed.
Right.
And if that team's time is freed, you can do wonders. And that is shown by two-wheeler companies in the past. If you see Bajaj Auto, quite a few of their suppliers will praise Bajaj Auto that, okay, their procurement team, their sourcing team, they came at our place, help us improve. So, see, they belong to that supply chain and they say that we have been helped and we have improved ourselves over the period of time. Now, that was possible because they could do that.
Right.
Now, in a fast changing world, when there is so much uncertainty and so much volatility in demand, there will be changes in the production, there will be changes in the products that you are making, so the components will change. During these times, a systemic intervention is required. We cannot leave it to individual. So if we leave it to individual, it is that individual's expertise.
Correct.
But if a system can do it, then the entire ecosystem will improve.
Right. Right. And also, Mr. Patki, there's this, a strong bullishness on India's potential as a global player. Not just for the domestic market, but in the global value chain, wherein companies from India can go out and tap into the demand from overseas markets. So, what do you think are the key, pillars that Indian companies in the automotive space should focus on to realize this opportunity in the coming future?
So in different space like two-wheeler, four-wheeler, and commercial vehicle, the approach will be different. If you ask me about the four-wheelers, maybe we have significantly lagged behind China right now,
Right.
because they have captured really the market with the cost competitiveness and good products.
Right.
And you won't believe, they are also, earlier they used to offer huge volumes. Now they are offering huge variety with lesser volumes in these four-wheelers. So the variety of products is also being offered by them. So it is going to be a little tough for us to really compete on that space.
Okay.
Coming to two-wheeler, there is a huge scope, because all the developing countries, the products that are running in India, the lower HP or lower, those
Engine
products are not really sold by global manufacturers.
Right.
And that is the space, and that's why we see that Bajaj could do significantly well in Brazil in the past. So there is an opportunity for that, and I think we are in good position to capture it. We should not be found napping again like we did in case of four-wheelers. So because China will come up in some time. If you go to a country like Indonesia, you find none of Indian manufacturers, but a lot of other, and why I'm saying Indonesia is because it is again fifth largest populous country, where two-wheelers are used in huge numbers after India. So if such a country, India, is not much present, then we have to look at how we can really capture those markets.
Right.
The commercial vehicle space, I think we are in a good position. We have good products. All the developing countries are using our products. So if you go to Africa, Tata products are seen, Ashok Leyland products are seen. So I think we have to ensure that we build our supply chain capabilities to deliver the desired products in time, because quality, it seems, is accepted by them, the products are okay with them, the variety and the lead time is what we'll have to focus on to give them what they want.
Right. And just broadly, what are the headwinds that you see ahead of the industry if you talk about this year and maybe a couple of years down the line, and also some unique opportunities that can unfold in this near term?
If you look at the growth opportunities or the headwinds, I think this couple of years look to be better placed as compared to the last year. Last year was a little of a cyclical downturn. We saw a flat year for all the three categories, two-wheeler, four-wheeler. So the industry goes through the cycles. I think we should see at least next couple of years going up. But from the perspective of proofing our own self, we have to find markets outside. See, the industrial up and down hits you when you are the significant player in the industry. If on the global platform you are having less than 10%, less than 5% business share, then the global win should not affect you, because you can capture, if you have that capability, you can capture from somebody else.
Right.
I think that is what China did for some time in last few years. So we'll have to build that capability. Even if there is global downturn, if we start building now, we should be able to capture some market shares time to time across the globe, where we are not present today.
Right.
So that's an opportunity that lies always with us.
Right.
For that, we need to be acceptable as a product in terms of quality, in terms of delivery, and product of the choice for the consumer. That's the final thing.
Right. On that note, Mr. Patki, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank
really
you,
appreciate your time. Thank you so much.